Hello, welcome to Tai Chi Exercises. I'm Rosalind, and today we're going to look at how to open the lower back in the seated position. We've already done this in the standing position, and at the end of the day I'll explain how we use this in the exercises that we do and also in our daily lives. All day long we're opening and closing our lower back. To start with, make sure that you're in a very stable chair and that you're comfortable. And the precautions, as always, if you're not happy with the exercise, just leave it out. Check with your health professional first if you have any concerns. But the exercise is very gentle, so you should be fine. We've already looked in the standing position, and we've discussed with the aid of a flexi curve that the spine has an S shape to it. And when the Chinese were talking about opening the lower back, they were talking about the lumbar region, and they were trying to straighten out the curve in the lower back. So that would be open, and when we have the curve, that would be closed. And we've looked about how we've had a practice on how to do it in standing, so I thought it would be nice to do it in the seated position. Now, the difference in sitting is there won't be such a great curve. The lumbar curve is slightly reduced in the sitting position, but we can still do the exercise nicely. So for the exercise, you will need to sit forward in your chair. So if you're right back here, if you can and you're able to, do sit forward towards the front edge of the chair. Make sure you're stable. And as always, the crown is always suspended. We have a nice long line in front and feet shoulder width apart, soles of the feet firmly on the floor. And that allows us to work our postural muscles, deep stomach muscles. Everyone's concerned about having a nice strong core, but if you sit slumped and your feet, cross your legs, your feet aren't on the floor, these muscles don't work. So simply putting them down, feet flat on the floor, having the crown suspended will work your core muscles and help strengthen them. So this time we're going to feel into the body when we're opening the lower back. We've already used several visualizations. We've talked about the crystal bowl. We've talked about being a greyhound and rounding our lower back. And we used the torch analogy in standing as well, where we dipped, imagine our buttocks were a headlamp and we dipped the beam. And then I also used the idea of resting against a wall in standing to get some sensory feedback. Well, in sitting, I thought we'd use our hands. We're going to substitute the wall for our hands so we can feel what's happening. So if you put one hand in the hollow of your back, in the lower back, and place the other hand opposite, and what we're going to do, and I'll use the crystal bowl analogy as well, we're going to close the back further. What we're going to do is arch our back, allow our tummy and the pelvis to rock forward and to move forward position. And you'll feel that there's an increased arch in the lower back. So now the back is fully closed. And then if we release our back and keep releasing, so the pelvis is tilting backwards till we reach a position where the spine feels straight. And that's now open. That's what we're looking for in Tai Chi. If we allow our back and our pelvis to rotate, and in the image, the crystal bowl to rotate back, now the lower back is further open. It's too much. We're now in a slump position. We've lost our S-shaped curve. So we don't want that. Just allow your pelvis to come back. Feel with your hands the movement to the neutral position. So when we tip forward, the image is with the crystal bowl that we might be tipping water out the front of the bowl. We don't want that. allow your pelvis to just relax and rotate in the backwards direction. So now the crystal bowl and the water is level in the bowl. Allow the pelvis to rotate backwards. Now the water is tipping out of the back of the pelvis, out of the bowl, sorry. So we don't want that. So just allow the pelvis to come back to the neutral position. So when we go forward, we've closed the back, and when we move back, the lower back is open. So we close the back and we open the lower back, and then just come back to the seated position. Wonderful. So now you know all about opening the lower back and closing it in the seated position. And so where do we use this in our daily life? Well, let's just again put the hands at the front and the back and just rock your body forward, keeping a nice long line at the front, and rock back to the neutral. And you can feel the pelvis. You can see it as well on my demonstration. You can see the pelvis moving forward and back, and I hope you can feel a change in your lower back. As you arch forward, there's an increased hollow, and as you come back, the hollow opens out and the spine is flatter. So that's in the trunk rock. Let's move on to Mr. Wobbly Man, as I call him, or her. And moving around, you can feel the pressure on the seat bones, and you can feel the changes, all the muscles, little muscles working in the lower back. And I'll go right back. I'll go in a bigger circle one way and then the other. First a small circle. Make sure you keep your center in the base. We don't want to go wild. And remember what we were doing earlier about keeping, we had crystal bowls in our pelvis, chest and head. So we want to keep those. We don't want to go wild and spill the water. And hopefully you can feel the lower back opening and closing as you move. And then we'll do a couple of really big circles, keeping everything level. Of course, in sitting it's more difficult to keep, it's probably impossible actually to keep the pelvis level because the pelvis is fixed. We can do it in standing. Lovely. I hope you've enjoyed that. As you can see, all day long, and we're not really conscious about it, we're opening and closing the lower back. These are movements that occur naturally in every sport, in everything we do. If I get it up and down out of a chair, my lower back will open and close as I'm moving. It's not something to worry about, it's just to be aware. And the whole point of the exercise is, as we get older, we tend to stiffen up. But if we can do some gentle Tai Chi exercises, be aware of our body and how it moves, keep everything loose and relaxed, no straining, no excessive contraction, just, a lovely quality of movement. And the muscles enjoy it as well. They have a lovely, very gentle movement. And this will help us in our daily lives as we get older, if we can keep nice and loose and everything mobile. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed doing opening and closing the lower back in the seated position. I hope to see you again soon. If you like the video, please press the thumbs up button below. If you have any comments or suggestions for future videos, please leave them below. And look below for details of my website and the courses that I teach to allied health professionals across the UK. Please subscribe to my channel. Press that big red button for me. Thank you. Happy Tai Chi.